Lay here from Talented Learning. Welcome to another installment of the Executive Briefing Series. This is my favorite series of content because we get to travel around the whole world virtually and meet with the absolute best learning system vendors there are. And today's no different. We have D2L, and with us today is D2L's Vice President of Learning and Innovation and Advocacy, Kenneth Chapman. Ken, it's all yours. Tell us all about D2L. We're looking forward to it.
Thanks so much, John. So I'm going to hop right into it and just talk a little bit about who we are as D2L, where we come from, and really where our mission is and how we think about serving our customers. So D2L is a global organization. We've been around for over 20 plus years with the same ownership, same mission, and same commitment to partnering and working with our clients. There's over 15 million learners are working with Brightspace, the LMS that D2L provides, on a day-to-day basis. We operate globally out of 40 countries, and we serve learners at every walk of life, all the way from K to 12 through their workforce learning. We have over 1,000 employees worldwide and well over 1,000 customers around the globe. In the 20 years that we've been in operation, we've had one mission, which is to transform the way the world learns. And for us, that doesn't mean in any one domain of their life. It's everywhere. We're always learning, and that's never been more true in today's economy. So that means within government, within formal education, within membership associations, within corporations, and for individuals that are trying to better themselves and give themselves more choice and ability to uplift their family, their society, whatever. So we know it's going to take a concerted effort from all institutions and individuals to prepare our workers for the future. And so that's what makes us a little bit different as a learning technology provider. We think about learning through all walks of life. We look at learning as a fundamentally human practice. And it forces us to think a little bit differently about how do we create technology that helps more people create and participate in really engaging, personalized, modern learning experiences where we're all creators and we all have the ability to access learning always on, all the time, not consume and click and comply type of learning. And so this means we have to think a little bit differently about how we create technology and how we support our customers. It means we have to really lean into this idea of accessibility. So not just diversity, equity, and inclusion, but accessibility as well. How do we meet each individual where they are? How do we give them the tools they need so they can be recognized for what they already know and they can go and achieve what they're looking for? So that doesn't mean handing everybody the same experience. It means providing tools that make it feasible to create this kind of personalized engagement at scale. It means we have to make it really, really simple for that first time person using a learning system as a learner or a creator. It has to be dead easy for them to get in and create a great experience, or for them to learn something meaningful and be engaged. But it means we can't block out that power user that wants to experiment, kick down the doors, and do some really crazy stuff that we never imagined before. So when we take that sort of human-centered approach to the learners that we're supporting and the designers, it means we really have to focus on how we take the sand out of the gears and how we raise up those waters for those that are new to the game. So our role when we're working with customers is really to be a partner in that innovation and transformation around teaching and learning. And our role in doing that is to make sure the technology is worry-free, always up, it's cloud native, everything built within Brightspace is accessible and ADA compliant. That's a huge deal. We want to make sure that the content experiences are super high quality, consistent, so learners don't have to find things differently every time they go somewhere else in your system. We want everybody to be a creator. Your employees, your customers want that as well. They're used to that in their online lives. We bring learning experience and expertise. We know how to do this. We've seen it done well over 20 years. We know the best practices. We can advocate for those for our customers. And lastly, we understand technology isn't necessarily the answer to all problems. It's the learning strategy and how it fits to business outcomes. It's the change management and actually building out that technology and adapting workflows. And then it's the implementation and the administration of that tech after the fact, of course. All of those things are really necessary to have that strong partnership and build out that success for teaching and learning strategy. Mm-hmm. So when we roll this out, this means really, really deep consultation through the sales cycle, through onboard and launch, We have lots of managed services that can outsource content development, instructional design, change management. We can even outsource the entire administration of a learning program if a business wants to get up and running really quickly, really high fidelity modern learning. We can do that. We have a really strong customer success and technical support team. If end user help desk calls are something that you want to deflect, we have AI tools to do that. We have end user support techs that will pick up the phone for you. Our customer success group is always looking at what are the business goals that we were hired for, and how are those evolving as we're starting to achieve our different teaching and learning goals, our different performance metrics as we roll out. So lots of ways that we bring that expertise, that consultation, and that sort of white glove service on top of technology when organizations need it. So we're working with a huge variety of organizations because we have such flexible technologies and ways that we can deploy it. So we tend to attract organizations that are really looking to modernize their learning, make it more engaging, and make themselves able to do that at scale. And it means we're attracting organizations that are looking to upskill their own employees. So building capability academies, oftentimes really focusing on leadership, onboarding, diversity, equity, and inclusion, collaborative, cohort-based learning opportunities are really attractive to a lot of organizations these days. We see a lot of organizations that want to extend to their enterprise. They want to really bring in their customers or their partners and enable them on and train them on how to use their products, how to sell their services. So the ability to customize Brightspace so that it has really different endpoints and branding for different customers is really attractive here. The automation tools on the back end for administration, again, is something that's meaningful if you've got 50 or 60 different sites that you're managing from a centralized content library. And then professional associations, particularly coming out of COVID, have really been a hotspot for us. Organizations that are really looking to engage their membership and are understanding that their one and done conference throughout the year isn't the best way necessarily to engage their members, but an opportunity to create a sustained engagement through learning and through some of the communities and networks that their learning experiences can create is a really strong way for associations to look at monetizing their membership and really bringing learning strategy deeper into their revenue model. So it's just a couple quick examples of some of the ways that we're working with specific customers. Colliers, a global professional services and investment management company, they were really looking to scale their learning program. They needed to move to a more blended, self-paced training model rather than in-person and instructor-led. So they turned to Brightspace to help modernize that program and bring that more into a self-paced and self-serve, more scalable approach. Demantic, really top-notch organization that's working in a high-growth environment with engineers. So for them, they needed to build a really transparent, scalable certification program based on a specific set of skills and competencies that let their engineers and managers match the right skills to the right projects that they needed to deploy their managers out onto. So this was a really big uplift for them, moving to more of a skills or competency-based learning model. It accelerated their onboarding for their engineers from 12 months to 8 weeks, really helping their new employees quickly gain the skills they need to be addressable to the business and start delivering outcomes. Great visibility of which engineers have which skills and competencies for managers to look at how their health for different projects and where they had any gaps and needed to bring new people in. And then lastly, for a customer example, Harvard Business Publishing, a name that we all know really well, top tier brand, really synonymous with high quality business content. They were looking at how they sustain and improve their customer learning experiences at scale as they continue to grow and how they saw greater demand for their content. So their global executive content, they really wanted to make sure they streamlined the learner experience as well as the administration and the creation of their content. So they've been working closely with our learning and creative services on how to leverage our tools and how to create some really phenomenal examples of what can be done in the system so that their designers can take those templates and propagate that really great work out to their customers. So when we bring Brightspace to our customers, the core of that is our LMS or our learning platform. mobile. It works for absolutely any browser, any device. All the capabilities of Brightspace work. We use mobile apps because we want to give you an offline experience. We want to support push notifications or a different way of laying out the screen. From an accessibility perspective, everything works from simply a browser. Organizations that want to extend the capabilities of Brightspace, that want to have even more powerful authoring and media management capabilities, we have a package called Creator Plus. For organizations that want to extend and go deeper in data analytics and some of our machine learning tools, we have a package called Performance Plus. And those are things that are available as add-ons on top of Brightspace. Lastly, we don't do this alone. You know, we always know that there's a large ecosystem of really great tools and enterprise systems that we need to work well with. Of course, business intelligence and data and analytics systems we integrate well with. But we really focus strongly on a few different partnership areas to ensure that we can do things like identity verification and management, particularly in high consequence compliance sort of environments. We want to make sure we're working with off-the-shelf content providers so that, you know, the content partners you're already working with work really seamlessly within Brightspace. We want to make sure that there's some really nice tools, you know, AI-enabled tools. Anders Pink is a great example of curating web content into the learning environment and specific to skills. Collaboration and synchronous suites like Bongo and Class to make sure that we can bring in those synchronous and connected sort of experiences and design them into the overall learning program. Mm-hmm. So that learning ecosystem along with Brightspace is a critical element of that success. And with that, I'm going to switch us over to a demo.
All right. Good overview. Kind of good overview. Yeah, some things that are really unique. Boy, bright sunny day here in Pennsylvania. I can't get out of the sunshine. Some really unique differentiators in there. Something that we see very little or less for sure in today is such a heavy reliance on services. So to have managed administration, graphic help, instructional design help, content creation, mobile app development, and customization, running your support and learner support, you know, that whole bucket of services is so important that organizations need it. Either they have to provide it themselves or they need it in a partner. So it's that's something in the marketplace that's really unique, and which, you know, a lot of organizations want, and is you know, a reason that you would want to look at D2L. And I think the other thing that's really special is just the focus on accessibility. So we recently did a study on accessibility of learning system vendors out there. D2L is operating at the highest level that's out there in the industry right now. And that's another differentiator, because organizations, you know, they have their standard set level and looking for learning systems to meet that. And it's also neat to, I'll let you get back to your own demonstration, but the multi focus of your audience of helping everyone from K to 12 to corporate learnings to associations and extended into extended enterprise. D2L has really got their fingers in all the hottest areas, the hottest growth areas of the marketplace. So there's a summarization of your summarization. Looking good.
Thanks, John. Yeah, to the services point, what we like to say is we like to meet customers where they are. And, you know, some have really phenomenal infrastructure and skills, and others don't. And what we're finding more often is people don't have the time to upskill a new employee to learn a new system and become a great instructional designer. But sometimes they'll want to pair with one of ours 6 months or so, learn the trade from an expert, and then be able to go and apply that and hit the ground running. So it's really attractive for a lot of corporations to know that you know, they're adopting a system that the younger generation that's coming on and moving into their organization is familiar with and comfortable with as well.
Mm-hmm. I think the last point that you didn't bring that I didn't hear that really makes that a difference is just speed to market. So organizations that don't have the resources that try to do it themselves, all they really do is stretch their time to market from, you know, weeks to, you know, sometimes a year. And so having those resources to bear for your customers just allows everybody to hit the road sprinting, and that makes a big difference in technology because the shelf life of everything is short.
Well said, John. All right. Well, I'm looking at Brightspace right now, and so this is the main page that I came in when I landed into my sort of dummy organization. And I've got a bunch of things I can manage from a branding perspective and layout. I'm not going to go into all of the weeds. I'm going to show some more of the neat stuff here. If I was on a small screen, this would just adapt and it would look good on a small screen, a phone, a old iPod Touch, we don't care. Everything's going to work. So what's unique about Brightspace is we can deliver a lot of really different type of use cases through Brightspace. So I'm going to walk through a couple of different ones. One of them here is a leadership course, very deep and involved, cohort-based, lots of activities where we're working together. We can deliver things like short courses, badge or micro-credential type of thing. In this case, I've got a little developer boot camp if I want to support some employees that are picking up some technology skills. So when I come in, I can get a little quick guide for this short little learning unit. Here are the little learning objectives I'm going to pick up. I've got a couple of units. I can learn a little bit about each. And then I see I've got some badges and awards available for this course. So I can use Brightspace to kind of create a little bit of game mechanics within the course. I see what's expected of me. I know what I need to do to get this badge. And I see some of my classmates are already moving through that and achieving some of those awards. So really, really comprehensive framework behind the scenes in Brightspace to determine what content gets released to what individuals when. So who gets this badge or this award and what conditions are really, really flexible and something that designers can choose to do on their own and to set up. As someone that's administering a course within Brightspace, I can see lots of progress and statistics on how people are progressing. So I can scan really quickly at a glance how people are moving through my little short course. If I want to reach out and connect with any of them, I can do that through here as well.
That's nice. Okay.
I mentioned before we're seeing interest in moving away from the annual conference and sort of event model. So we do things with our customers like when we recognize how they're utilizing some of our learning platform, we'll create templates for them. So what we've picked up on is this online event is a great way for creating some engagement at an event, but then sustaining that and looking for activities and ways to put new packages in front of them potentially and keep them sort of in the flow of learning. So, here I've got a little template that I can work from if I was a designer, and I have an activity feed where I can put, a roster of events or a schedule in there. I've got work that I can have before the event when it's actually happening, and then things coming after the event. We've got tools that we built out to help them manage their participants, so their attendance and people that are signing up. And then, of course, they can go and create some of those awards to encourage, moving through that sort of journey and event journey that they've designed here. So this idea of, templating some of the experiences is kind of key in reducing some of the time to value and delivering programs in the system, as you were mentioning, John.
Mm-hmm.
So lastly, we see it utilized for community building as well. So, this isn't just a click and consume type of thing. I can be given rights within a course to actually be a creator. So here I've got a community of practice course, and it's a little bit more open. I can add my own posts into the activity feed here. So if I want to create a message for or record a quick little video, everywhere I am within Brightspace lets me go and record a webcam video. Really, really handy for creating. Sorry, this is going to go wonky for a sec. Here's my video. There we go. Really, really handy for creating that presence and for supporting employees that just want to put themselves out there and interact. Discussion boards are much more lively when we're sending video responses back and forth through our phones than they are typing these sort of dead-ended little text messages out. So nice thing about this as a video is we automatically caption all of the webcam videos that are taken through Brightspace as well. So now that makes it actually a resource for me. It's searchable, it's accessible. I don't have to worry about compliance and people going back and having a crazy workflow to upload SRT files or to caption it. In this little community course here, they've had the ability to add their own little social feeds in here too. And then of course, if I want to move in and start working within discussion boards, I can do that here. I'm going to get notifications into the app on my phone when somebody updates it. And again, I can respond with text, I can drop material off the web, or I can record video through these interaction and collaboration spaces. So I'm going to jump into a more comprehensive course. This one's our leadership, sort of a leadership onboarding course, where there's a cohort of individuals that are working together on a team. There are large group activities that are going on, and then there are individual assignments and work happening with a mentor and a coach. So here we've got a template that's laid out, again, with an activity feed, but now we've got virtual sessions and a calendar of activities that are going on here. I see that I've got, as the person running this course, people are submitting assignments that need feedback from me. And again, I've got this idea of those awards and badges and a leaderboard that's put in place. So from within content, everywhere, all of the items that are here, I can be tagging with skills. So if I want to have, and we'll see some back-end reporting later, if I want to track, what materials are leading towards the most effective skill acquisition, where do we have gaps in what we're supporting, what are learners searching for that they're not finding, those are things that are really relevant to have that connection there. Mm-hmm. So when I'm creating content in Brightspace, again, that creation and authoring is something that we really emphasize. We want to make the barrier to putting great stuff in this system as low as possible, and we want everyone to be a creator. So if I've got some nice content already in Google Drive, in OneDrive, great, use it. If I just want to drag and drop some materials from my environment, that's awesome. If I want to bring a SCO in there, I'm not sure why, but I can do that too. And then of course, if I'm doing work with Microsoft Teams or I have other enterprise integrations in there, these are all sort of first-class citizens. They look like a tool from within Brightspace, which is nice. If I want to create something from scratch, we have tools to support that as well. So here I might want to create a brand new page. And one thing that we really encourage in Brightspace is consistency. Learners love to have consistency. If they always see information laid out in the same way for the same purpose, they don't have the same cognitive load. They can scan for that information. They get what they need quickly.
Hey, Ken, is this authoring capability a part of that Creator Plus?
Nope, this is just the core product.
Oh, this is still the core product. Okay, thank you.
Something everybody can do. Yep. And so this isn't unique to content. If I was making this an introduction to an assignment or a quiz question, all of this authoring richness is still there. So here I've got a module introduction. I've got some branding that's already put in place here. Maybe this is for a prenatal workshop. And then I've got a layout here for some learning objectives. So I can customize the style of this if I want to manage my branding centrally, and that will cascade down to these templates. But what's really useful here is every time I do a module introduction, it's going to be laid out this way. It's going to be responsive. So again, if I shrink down my screen, number one, you can see my content tool shrunk down with me. So it still does everything that it did before, but so did the content. So learners aren't pinching and zooming. And believe me, if you've talked to a young learner these days, that is one of the #1 ways you can disengage them. Put a Microsoft Office doc online, and that's how you kill a learner engagement. So really making sure things work well on a phone or any screen that somebody puts the content into is a huge advantage. So once again, from within here, if I wanted to add a video in place here, I could do that. If I've already pre-recorded one I did before, I could just search from it. They're all captioned. So if I want to look at what I said before, if I have some media, we've got a whole media library. So if I want to trim and manage chapters in those things, I can do that as well. And then finally, if I want to go and actually make sure that this content is accessible, it was when I created the template. That's why I used it. I can double check that the content here is accessible, and we have almost like a spell checker. We will do that there as well. So really handy to create consistent content that's going to work on any device, and learners are going to be able to access easily. Mm-hmm. Once I have my content in Brightspace, and that can be anything that can be displayed on the web. So here I've got another web page that I pulled off of another system. Here I've got a YouTube video. Regardless of what the content actually is, I can start to decide, well, who do I want to see this content? This isn't necessarily something I want for everyone. Maybe they have to do some things before they look at that. So this is where that idea of rules and how we can really tailor and personalize the learning path and the communication an individual gets is through this idea of release conditions. So here I can set up the rules that say, if these things happen, then I want the learner to get this piece of content, or this assignment or this badge or this email, whatever the case may be. So the conditions I can use for this are everything. If the person is in this geography and assigned this role and has been in the role for less than 2 years, then I want them to have this learning path. If the learner was given a choice, how do you want to show that you understand this concept? Do you want to create a TikTok video? Do you want to take a quiz? Do you want to meet with somebody on a Zoom call? Based on what I select for that, that's going to be what the next experience I have in the system is. So a really, really flexible, if this, then that sort of methodology to deliver personalization at scale. Extremely powerful, very unique for how we do this throughout our entire environment. And again, our templates that we can put in place capture some best practices around this so people don't have to design these things from scratch.
Mm-hmm.
So those are release conditions. And then another really, really popular content type that we've been working with lately comes for skills assessment, particularly through video. So we have this idea of a video assignment. And I'm just going to load up my most recent assignment here. So what this does is it lets an employee submit a piece of video and they can get some evaluation that comes back to themselves. They can get feedback and evaluation from their peers, or an ultimate evaluation from a mentor, an evaluator, an instructor. So here I've got Emma has submitted their case study, and that submission is made up of a video, so I can watch the video. And when I watch this video, I can give comments right in place here. Just gonna mute that. I can make comments right in place there. And if there's a certain point in the video where I didn't like their answer, I can pull up my own webcam and I can model that behavior. So I can say, you could have really handled the situation better by saying this. And then that's sort of tagged right into the timeline there for the person as they get their feedback back. But if Emma just submitted this video assignment and wanted to check on, well, what do my presentation skills look like? I have a really nice auto analysis report for any video that gets submitted. All of the evaluators, myself, get to see this. What did the clarity of my speech look like? How many filler words was I using? And what was my rate of speech over time? Here I had a couple of key terms that I was expecting to hear, and those didn't get used at all. So if I was expecting to see, a pitch, and I wanted to self-evaluate or see if one of my learners was doing well, I can track how well are they using those key terms in context. Are they clear? Are they talking too fast? Are they using too many ums? Really, really great way for you to get some immediate feedback and some expert feedback through this sort of skills-based assessment.
Cool.
Very cool. Yeah, lots and lots of excitement from corporates that are looking just to go more than the click, click, click and see some authentic demonstration of skill,
Well, man, I hate to see what my report is. All my
It's helped me get the ums out of my presentations. That's what I use it for.
Yeah, I could use that too.
And then I come back to this progress report. So, in a more involved course, this becomes really relevant. I might want to look for, how do I actually improve the course itself? What are the things that are happening that are causing students to fall out and maybe disengage and not really go down a path of success? So, if I want, I can drill into an individual learner here, or I can just look at Jamal here and see what's up. But maybe I've picked up on a pattern. I've noticed after the first couple of weeks, if my learners haven't done the following things, I really don't hear from them again. And then it's a ton of work to get them back on. So we're going to come back to that rules-based approach we had before and use it for communication. So now we have this idea of what we call intelligent agent. And so basically we use those rules to say we want to create a communication to somebody when those rules are met. So that might be when somebody does excellent on a quiz, I want to send them some advanced materials, or I want to make them a mentor of a collaboration group so they can help some other people out there. So I want to send them a little congratulatory message. It's going to be according to these rules. I want their manager to know about it. And then maybe I'll put, a video in there congratulating them. Maybe it'll be a little dancing GIF. Doesn't matter. I can do the same thing for nudging and interventions. If somebody hasn't logged into the course within 5 days of enrollment, and their skill level is lacking from the previous delivery, then we can go and give them a nudge. We can point them to a mentor. We can put links right into that for what you should have done by now or by next week. So really, again, taking those best practices that human beings pick up on and automating those through some of these rules-based capabilities that we supply through Brightspace.
Wow. Good.
So just to wrap, I mean, there's lots and lots of other tools available to do things like manage your dashboards and see who I'm specifically responsible for, creating learning groups. So if you have a group of people that have certain compliance expectations on them in a geography or role or whatever the case may be, I can orchestrate who gets assigned what learning and how they get registered through those sort of backend tools. Similarly, employees can discover their own learning, or customers can, through a catalog or discover tool that we have available here. So I can search for learning opportunities, sign up for them, or apply to them if the case dictates that, and then go ahead and take that learning. For organizations like professional associations that may want to sell their courses and have a marketplace, we also do that. So there'd be an external catalog that can charge prices, bundle deals, all of that kind of thing built in as well. John, I can talk for literally hours about all the cool tools and ways that we've built, like the little bits of minutia over 20 years to make these things easier. But I hope that kind of gives the tops of the trees of just how deeply we're thinking about all the different ways modern learning is happening, and that we built a platform to support them all.
Excellent. No, it's super deep here. I have one question. I keep on running into clients right now with skills and competencies needs. Can you give us just a 30-second overview of the capabilities that you have in terms of what skills look like, in terms of, can you nest them? Do you have, tell us your capabilities there.
Yeah, so we have there's a database built into Brightspace called the Achievement Standards Network. So if there are professional skills, engineering, for example, nursing, those are already built into our system, and they can just be imported into, or you can create them on the fly or through a spreadsheet if you've already got them. Nest them as deep as you want and only expose the levels that your learners need to see. So if you have all kinds of back-end complexity in your skills, but just that the one set of skill descriptions is what the learners need to see, then that's all they see. Everything in Brightspace can be tagged to a skill. So piece of content that they look at, a link that they look at externally, an assignment, an individual quiz question, all of those things can be instrumented with skill information, so that for a learner, actually, I'm going to take you back to that. Let's look at that. Sorry, John.
No, it's all right. My question.
I'm going to show what's so there's a skill-based gradebook that we can show that sort of gives the learner and any of their evaluators the ability to see how their interaction with that skill has progressed over time and what their overall achievement looks like in that. So here I've got a number of different skills that are available to the learners in this course. They're really long verbose skills. And if I drill into an individual learner here, so in Ashley's case, these are all the interactions Ashley has had with that skill. Some of those are assignments that they've taken. Some of those are discussions they've participated in. In this case, there's a field trip that they went on. So somebody filled out a rubric and observed them in person. But this is all of the different interactions that they've had with that skill. And then there's an algorithm that you can choose that says, how do I want their overall skill determination to look like based on what we've seen? So is it the most recent, most consistent? Did they grow and show what they can do? Do you want to take the average of what they've done over time? So really, really flexible way for me to visualize and see how my skills are moving along at sort of this micro level. But then in some of the aggregate reporting that we support, you can sort of see what is the skill level of my group as a whole. I hope that answers that, John.
Wow, outstanding. Super deep. Is what I was hoping to see. You guys are really leading in that area too. Yeah, it's been far too long since I got a good update, Kenneth, on your organization, and you've made just an absolute ton of progress. As I mentioned before, after the first segment, I think just the focus on professional services and being a partner is so needed in the industry. And so I know you occupy space just with that approach alone. but the product itself, the solution, is really, really coming along. And it's really special. I think the ability to work in cohorts and to see the progress of yourself and of your class, that is better than I think anything I've seen in the industry. It looks absolutely great. The dashboard view of that looks great. It just looks so easy to manage that class. And there's a lot of cool differentiators that I haven't seen. Like I've did a blog post recently on automation engines, and I love your automation engine, that release conditions of what you're calling it, but just the ability to do if then with anything. It's cool. Now, I've seen that before, but what I haven't seen is the if then with anything at every stage along the way. Like you could do if somebody's not logging in for 5 days, or they're not doing this, or sending them that video clip. That's just a whole another layer higher than what I've seen. It's super special. I can really see how you'd be engaged both as a learner and an instructor in that type of environment. I love the focus too on mobility and making sure everything is mobile and accessible across everything. And just in general,
honestly, at this point, that's something designers should just take for granted, right? You know, our tech should be making. I know, but but we should be there by now, right? Everything should be accessible and available on every device, and go.
Sure. Yeah, no, it makes sense. It's what everybody wants. It's what everybody wants. It's funny though that the next generation just won't tolerate the Microsoft Word, where I still will. You know, I'll still do that. They're like, no way. No way. The auto caption and just the video piece is really neat and powerful because just like you said, you have to upload your own transcripts to that in most cases. So to do the automatic translation, and the automatic translation in multiple languages automatically makes that video tactile, and that's great.
One thing I didn't mention there too is if there's slides in a video, and I'm using that in our media management piece, we're OCRing the text even on the slides. So those are searchable in our resource as well. Super, super powerful for being able to reuse those assets.
Yeah, I agree. So all in all, super impressed, Ken. This is a really nice solution. Right after this call, I'm going to get you involved in 2 sales opportunities based on this demonstration. So it's already working, and anybody that's watching this, if you've got skills, competencies, you're looking for a partner, you want to take learning and learning intervention and the efficacy to the next level, desire to learn, D2L is a great option to evaluate, as you saw here today. And I encourage you to reach directly out to them. Ken, thanks very much for joining us today, sharing your solution, doing it with enthusiasm. We can tell that you love this, and it's it's a part of your core DNA. So appreciate you taking the time. It's great to see.
Thanks so much, John. It's always my pleasure.
Awesome. Listeners, thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Executive Briefing Series. As you can see, this is my favorite series of content, and now you know why, because you get to see things here that you just can't see across the world, and you get to see them here first. So if you want to see more of our independent content and analysis, you can find more at talentedlearning.com. Ken, where's your best place to get more information on D2L? Is D2L.com?
D2L.com, sir. Yep.
D2L.com. Nice and easy. Listeners, have a great day, and we'll see you on the next one.